Okay, folks, welcome back. All right, let's get the usual suspects out of the way. We got all kinds of stuff that's not where it's supposed to. That's how my messes happen. Like, you're done working on it and everything stays where it is. Like, as a general rule, if something doesn't happen while I'm online, it doesn't happen at all. Generally, that's the case. All right. So we got some stuff to talk about here. We finished this build yesterday, the Bangers and Smash, which is a 14-point Mini Cooper. And the whole point is to have a vehicle that is so inexpensive, you get two of them instead of a 27-point vehicle. I think I'm going to try to keep them all 13 or 14 points, so when you get two. All right, and I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. The rust on it turned out really well. Or at least it was what I was looking for. So she's done. And yesterday I've had this thing torn apart and stripped. I want to say for a long time, but it's really only been a few months. Because I've only started back in doing Gaslands probably in September maybe of last year. I did 3 cars way back when, but all my new cars are from September. It seems like it's been a long time, but that's not the case. We haven't even hit a year of going back and doing this. So the other car I had stripped was this one. Was an Austin, what do they call this thing? An Austin minivan. Yeah. And this one actually has replacement tires on it, and meaning they're 3D printed tires. Mainly the excuse that I couldn't find them. I had cut out the part here to put somebody firing this 50 caliber machine gun, which I don't really do anymore because there's just kind of a lack of figures available, or lack of figures that I own, and I really don't want to go and buy a bunch of figures. I haven't seen a whole lot of them that I'm really interested in. I'm a little leery of ordering some of them actually being 1/64th. That's a little big, but these are like 20 millimeter figures. From, where is he anyways? He should be all painted black, whoever the guy is. The gunner that sits in here. But anyways, these are from Stan Johansson, and those aren't available anymore. He passed away all of a sudden last year, and those aren't available. So, wow. Well, he's here somewhere. Just some trench coat, bald-headed trench coat looking dude. And this was just primered in black. I decided, well, let's go ahead and make it black, and we put several coats of different colors on it, and I really like the way it looks. I mean, it looks pretty damn good considering it's just supposed to be black. So we got to paint the gunner for that, and this thing is pretty much ready to go. And we've already started working on the 3 other vehicles that I think I'm going to do next. And what I mean by this, I think I could change my mind at any moment. That's what I'm enjoying about working on these. It's not like it's a commitment of 6 months. It's not like, well, you decided to build this knight army, so now you got to paint all these knights, and I want to do elephants and I can't. And those days are over, right? The hobby doesn't dictate what I'm doing next. A convention doesn't dictate what I'm doing next, so. Oh, here he is. All by himself. I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to see if I can find a penny. I think there should be some down here. Don't make me get up. Yeah. I'm base something on a penny in a long time. And I'm going to go ahead and super glue them to a penny. I think they're down here. Just going to pop this guy off a penny and put him on it. Well, considering there's a lack of pennies now, because they don't make them anymore, supposedly, I'm probably going to pick one up when I see it on the ground. Of course, the likeliness of seeing him on the ground is not going to be that common, I would imagine. Alright, let's get this. Let's super glue this guy. We're going to have to use a little trick here. The only reason we're putting him on here is just so we can paint him, and then he'll be, you know, loose. I need some of this to hold some of this weight up behind it while the super glue dries. Okay. Alright, so what we have left to do on this thing is, we've already done the rust and the streaking, and we're going to use a final dry brush of some silver on the parts that stick out. There is a tire and some things down here of detail. I'm honestly not worried about it too much. You put that guy in there, you can't see any of those things. I think I'm going to give these guys kind of like a little dry brush here with black and call it a day. We'll just have to pay off the Marcus inspector whenever he comes by. The most important thing for me, one of the most important things for me when I'm working on this is to make sure I keep the momentum going. I don't want to get bogged down in details that aren't important. And then the next thing you know, I've lost interest and moved on to something else. So I really try not to do that, because nobody benefits from something not getting complete. Something like this would probably be fine. It's basically the same color the outside of this vehicle is. I normally wouldn't have done it this way. It just kind of happened. It was all because of putting these tires on there, because it was getting these things glued and see how they were they would look in place. It just kind of happened that way. This is the second vehicle I've ever replaced the tires on, or the wheels. there's enough of that. That guy's covering basically everything in there. And he is going to need a fresh coat of black on him. And he's already been primed, and some of the primer has washed off. So while this is drying, we'll start working on the next things that we have to do on the next vehicles. Next batch of 3 or 4 vehicles. I forget exactly how many it is. We'll come back to this guy. Ah, shit. Well, there goes that brush. Got too close to the super glue on the bottom. I don't usually paint things with the wet super glue around, so. I was looking for a reason to get rid of some brushes. I have hundreds of them, literally. Deal with this right now. Oh, maybe it wasn't so catastrophic after all. Okay, it's really not in any worse shape than it was in before. Where is the, let's get a squirt of this going on. So you can get rid of whatever's in there in the ferrules of this brush. Okay, that ain't bad. Let's neutralize that. Some water, and set that off to the side. We'll use that for any brush cleaning, intense brush cleanings that we need. I'm going to set this off to the side while this clown dries, which shouldn't take long. All right, I'm going to go ahead and remove these vehicles that I have here, and I'm going to put them in the bin. I had an empty bin of these, and I decided to use it when I took some other vehicles apart yesterday evening, off camera. Move this chair and use it as a staging area. All right. And these should all be loose. They are. Okay. Got a green Mini Cooper. Another green one. Yeah, these are all. I'm gonna work on some. Get this team flushed out a little bit. With these Mini Coopers, it's going to take twice as many cars to get the same number of equivalents because it's two for each one. Here's a Jaguar Mark 1. I don't think I have any modern Jaguars now that I think about it. I didn't try to avoid them, it's just they weren't in stores. Land Rover with national parks on there. Yeah, we're going to have to remove that because we're not going to have them represent an American national park. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of them being a British team. This thing's going to need a driver because it's open top Triumph. Triumph TR6. It was like a British Miata. Okay, good. We got all this stuff out of the way. We can remove all these little bits and pieces as well. We got a clear workspace. So the next part I got to do is something I'm not a huge fan of. It's important, but I'm not a huge fan of doing it because it's messy. Okay. We're going to need a new one of these. Makes it a lot easier. We only have almost hundreds of these. I don't want to say hundreds, probably 50. All right, the vehicles that I decided to, what's this side look like? Yeah, okay. The vehicles that I decided to work on next, and what I think they're going to be called at this point. This is a Lotus Cortina. Never heard of a Lotus Cortina. I've heard of Lotus. I've never heard of a Cortina, which is Spanish for curtains. There's curtains for you. Very racing slick like tires. Probably gonna, I'm not a big person on changing them. Now, these have already been taken apart and they've been clear coated. So they are flat, not glossy. So we can apply the dark tone to them. So the Lotus Cortina, which is going to be, anybody even on here yet? One person, one lucky person. I'm pretty sure this one's going to be the Scarlet Scoundrel. Whatever the hell he's armed with. So, Scarlet Scoundrel is this car. We'll need to clear coat them. And these wheels don't want to stay in here. Well, probably because I drilled through that, but that needed to come out. Once I realized, okay, well, if I can't drill through it, because it takes a year to do it, and it's unsafe practice, I will just drill around it. That actually works pretty damn well. Okay, that's the Lotus Cortina, and this is what is going to be clear coated. Well, brown washed. We have this Mini Cooper. That is probably going to be the one that has the turret on it. It's going to have a turreted MG. That's going to be 6 points. And the car is 6, that's 12. And you have 2 points left for one build slot. So, that's what its main armament is going to be. Whatever it's called, we haven't decided that yet. Okay, it's a relatively light colored car. It's probably going to have, since it has a white roof on it, the machine gun that's on it is probably going to be as close to this. It's almost like a duck egg blue type of, not duck egg, I always called it duck egg blue, but it's the underside of the Spitfire first color, which is like Sky S, or I forget what the hell it's called. It's called something. That's what it looks like. It looks like the underside of a Battle of Britain Hurricane or Spitfire. Little spit. Anyhow, can't be called Spitfire. Spitfire has 830 caliber machine guns. This thing's only going to have one, so. Very typical British vehicle here that for this would be ideal is a Land Rover Defender. This just screams Great White Hunter or something like that. Not going to be called that, but that's a good Gaslands vehicle. That's going to be probably a troop type, car type. And it's it's pretty much good as is. I mean, it's lifted up off the ground nicely. It's a nice looking vehicle. It's just asking to be gas landed. And we got a clear flat coat on it so that the... Ah, yes. Nothing like bending over on the weekends. Clear coat so that the brown wash will stick. I decided to go ahead and do this one anyways because I had it nearby. And I talked about this. It's had a big old G on the top. This is an Asian rapper. He's going to be running for the Asian decimation and also for the brothers team. I'm not going to go ahead and wash that one yet. And of course the Harry Potter car, which I'm pretty sure we're going to call it Dog Farts Dropout. So the Magic Academy in this will be Dog Farts. So, and it's going to be, this one's going to double for the British team and the Nerd Burglars. So it's going to have some wacky weapons on it. That's really its claim to fame is going to be it's going to have weird weapons on it. Death ray, anti-grav things, something like that. I had to ask my daughter, I said, what's the deal with this Harry Potter car? Because I've tried to watch the first movie twice, and I think my record is like 17 and a half minutes on a watch. I don't think I've watched it longer than that. So what's the deal with this car? I know it flies. What else? Well, it kind of picks you up and it drops off and it does that. You know, she was into the Harry Potter movies when she was younger. Well, she's watched them all. I don't know if she was into it. Like, I don't know anything about it. I think it's weird that it supposedly takes place in the current times. Like, you know. So, oh, okay, so it's like the cape on, it's like Doctor Strange's cape. She's like, yeah, okay, all right, that's fine. It's got some weathering, or maybe this is gold, or I don't really know what the hell's going on. I don't know why this isn't a solid color, but this is going to be relatively damaged looking, dirty looking, rusty looking. I've never heard of a whatever the hell that thing is. Ford something or another. Anglia. Ford Anglia. Is there any descriptions about it? No? Man, there's a lot of stuff on the back here. There's a minimum of 35% ISCC certified plastic. Mass balance approach. Warning, small parts may be generated. I've never heard that before. And Mattel, empowering generations through play. Lesney Superfast. República Argentina. It's made in Argentina? No. No freaking way. No way. This is Thailand, guaranteed. Yeah, here's a little heffalump down here. Cute little heffalump. Somebody was commenting, they were watching my DBA videos, and said thanks to me that they call everything heffalumps and rutabagas. Well, the rutabagas isn't me. That's Mitch came up with that. I I added rocket power to it and just always considered it. I've never even used the word rutabaga prior to ever meeting Mitch. That's some Yankistani thing they don't have here in the South. I've never eaten that. Sounds unattractive. If it's just some other kind of like parsnip or turnip, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Just don't call it a rutabaga. It sounds like something that falls off the backside of a heffalump. Alright, let's turn this off so I can look at the brushes. Man, there is a lot of brushes here that need some TLC. See if I can find one. I don't have to do damage control on it right now. This one should be alright. TLC meaning we need to get the paint off of it, so that the paint the bristles will lay close to each other. All right. Man, overkill. What size is this? A size 8. All right. I have probably some of these little clampy things here. I'm going to need a few. So I can move this thing in without moving these things around without getting a big fingerprint on them. See, do I have a fourth one? I do. Okay. They're hiding amongst the brushes. All right, so all we're going to do is we're going to clip this somewhere so we can, well, hopefully, that's because it's too smooth. Hopefully move this thing around without touching it. All right, the Mini Coupe. What if I ran it like this? Is it more? Yeah, that's better. Okay, so attach it to the front, but run it through the vehicle so there's support. There we go. We'll learn how to do this eventually. I needed to go to the hobby store, but they're not open on Sundays. They're out worshiping or something. Hey, I don't blame being closed for a day. I just wish it wasn't a day I was off. Mitch rejoices though. He's not off on Sunday. But he also has no reason to go to Hobby Lobby. He's not exactly crafty. I don't really like that store, to be honest with you. It's like, okay, I'm ready to pay for something and you can't leave. You got lines galore. And what I noticed is, like, this is kind of a nice pastel look to everything. Now, not all their vehicles are pastel, but these happen to be. I mean, that's kind of cool. All right, let's see how I'm doing on strong tone. Okay, I know I have enough, but I may need to reorder. Dark tone, okay, that's dark tone is the black equivalent. That's the Nuln Oil equivalent. Strong tone. Okay, these two are new. We're definitely not gonna need any then. Dark tone, that's the other black. Okay, and these are the drippy colors. Another dark tone. How the hell do I have 3 of them? Well, that's gonna take a long time to go through. Soft tone, mid brown, and light tone. Okay, so I have 2 3/4 of them full. Okay, I'm good for a while. I don't go through that much of it. Now I'm gonna take one more look. Make sure there's not a smaller brush. Why don't I just find the brush I have and just fucking clean it? Clean the one. No wonder I can't find my little alligator clamps. They're all over here. They should be out there. like this. This is like the brush I want to use. So let's clean this. And you put this in water, you can't get any of this other paint off of it. So we're going to use our hand sanitizer. One, two. This is dry, completely dry. And look at that. Obviously we use this to dry brush something. Let's neutralize. You see the bristles fit up next to each other. And when you run it across something, it's flexible. It won't repair the brush bristles. They're all like a little bit. All right, let's use that one. It's about the right size I want to use. I want to save this for like a dry brushing. All right. We'll apply this, and then we'll go back to painting this Rob Halford look-alike looking dude. Let's go ahead and remove the crusty. And the other thing hand sanitizer is really good about is this particular product and also the Vallejo primer are more difficult to get off your hands than other things, and they comes off your hands like nothing. All right, so we're gonna put none of these I'm going to use a very heavy coat on. And we'll start with the Mini Cooper. The cute little Mini Cooper. Oh, and you can cut the stuff with water nicely too. So let's add a little bit of water. Test it underneath here. Yeah, that's about how we want it. Now, the secret is adding a flat coat to it so that this will actually stick to it. Otherwise, it would be like wipe on, wipe off. Not making any progress. Now, it kind of bugs me that this car and several others that I have this roundel that is obviously made for the number of the car, like if it's in a race. However, it's blank. So you have this white circle. Let's see if we can, we got some lint. And it's just very noticeable on the roof. Okay, good. Let's add a little bit more here. Blue lint. It's always blue lint. It's from our fabrics that are on our clothes. I'm sure your house is full with them, unless you don't wear clothes. I heard rumors of people that sit around at home naked. At least wear underwear, man. Okay, so this little guy's done. All right. And the headlamps on this thing almost look like exactly like a Mini Cooper. Lotus Cortina. Nice copper color now. And the front. The Scarlet Scoundrel. I don't know what the hell he's going to be armed with, but... we got on here earlier than we normally do. Well, we're going to have to stop earlier than we normally do. I got to take somebody to go get tested. Yeah. Actually, I don't think they have their test tomorrow. They're taking them to their class. Class on Sunday. Class on Saturday and Sunday, actually. A one weekend affair. That looks nice. You know, a lot of these washes, like, man, if it would just stay that way, it'd be great, but they move on you. Reminds me of these German vehicles they used to have. Those Trabis. Jesus, is anybody on? You guys all asleep? Land Rover 68. Normally it has to do with it's like a 1968 model, but I don't think that's the case. This is at least from the 80s. Not a very old looking vehicle. Yeah, not 80s is not a very old thing, even though it was what 50 years ago. How many, however many years ago it was? 40 years ago. Actually, I don't care if people comment on this. I'd like to know that there's people watching and not bots. I don't know if when bots watch stuff they even come up as a viewer. I honestly don't know how that works, and I guess I'm not curious enough to figure it out. But we don't do programming for bots. I want to say I have another couple of Land Rover Jeeps, a red one and a black one. Oh no, I'm thinking of a Gladiator. Yeah, a Jeep Gladiator. A Jeep Gladiator. The British don't run one of those. That's a. And that's just how I decided to design my teams. I'm not going to have the British team not using a British vehicle. Sorry, it's just how I want to run it. They really don't matter. It's just like, is it a car or a truck or whatever? Okay, so while those things are drying, let's move this out of the way. And let's see if this gunner is ready to go. All right, he's going to have a black trench coat, unfortunately. He just has to. And he's bald headed, and he's going to be a white dude. And I guess his pants need to be something that's not black. All right, so this could be a problem with that being wet. So I'm going to go ahead and move this. We done with coffee? No, we still have some. My morning medication. We could use this one, even though it only has half of the space there. Unless there's something on it. Check it with super glue. Okay, some of that. Let's get black, a little bit of white. Let's go ahead and clean this tip. It's gotten all crusty. That's what I think is actually the worst thing about craft paint is the closing methods of this paint. I don't really mind it. I don't want to. There's some people that are that claim that they do all of their painting with craft paint. That's a bit extreme. If I did that, then what am I going to do all this paint that isn't craft paint, right? But let's get a brush that's not too intricate. We don't want to use the intricate brush for everything. And let's go over the parts that are black to put a nice dark base on there. And of course, he's going to have freaking black boots on. Punk ass dude. Looks a little Wizard of Id-ish. Good morning, Jeffrey. Glad to see you're not a bot. I can't tell. I mean, like, I got 4 watchers. I'm like, who the fuck are they? I don't know. You know, I don't want to out people, you know. People have their reasons for not commenting. I mean, I watch lots of videos and I don't comment on them, but they're, you know, videos that are inappropriate. Oh, man. Not live. I don't think that you can have any inappropriate videos. Although somebody would argue this is probably an inappropriate video. I just want to know that it's not just bots watching. I said, I don't even know if bots are scanning stuff, if they even show up as viewers. All right, it's time to get our flesh mix. And our flesh mix is going to be, and has been for many years, the secret is red leather. And the other color is sunny skin tone. I think I've finally gotten around where I can say it properly. Let's see where she is. With the backside of sunny skin tone. That's what we're looking at, is the backside of these bottles. Here we go. Here is sunny skin tone, which I think in all of the faces I've ever painted, I've only gone, this is the second sunny skin tone I have, so you don't use a whole lot of it. And then white and black, which are already there. Oh, the other things I'm working on aren't there. Here's the other, the next car is for Team Cruel Britannia. All right, so we're going to put some red leather down. Well, this is one of these new Viejo bottles. They're just slightly different. They have like a little bit more of a neck. I don't like them. I like the old ones. I didn't ask for change. I see, I can be a crotchety curmudgeon too. That's 2 days in a row I've used curmudgeon. Oh, this hasn't been used. I must have replaced the old one. I wonder where the old one is. Maybe it's down here? Oh, there's another saddle brown. Yeah. I don't like to throw things away. I'm always like, I can get one more drop out of it. Good morning, Marcus. We have some humans around. Perfect. We're painting a figure. I know it's been a long time. I don't have a problem with painting figures. As a matter of fact, I like painting figures. It's just... you forget. Forget to put them in the vehicles. I have a limited amount of figures. I don't want to take World War II figures and convert them to put them in here. See, I'm doing this all fucking wrong. It's this with the red leather first. And that's just his hands. Uncle Fester looking dude. Well, he's a little bit more attractive than Uncle Fester, but not much. Not much. It's almost vampiric in a way. Oh, I didn't wash that other vehicle. I guess it's not important. The other one that I clear coated. My Asian rapper. Actually, he's my Chinese rapper. He's specifically my Chinese rapper. Oh, I know why I didn't do it, because I need to tinker with it. There's a big G on the top of it. This is like a 1970 Corvette. Did I nail that on the head? I don't know a lot about cars, but man, all of a sudden I know a lot about cars. Doesn't say on here. It's like a 70 Corvette. It's in light gold with a big old Chinese style dragon. Well, I think it's a Chinese style dragon. There's a G here on the side. We'll have to remove that. But this is going to be... no, it's not going to be G Money. It's going to be Rice Cube. So my Chinese rapper. So he can be on the Asian... That's why I don't have a true Japanese team. It's the Asian Devastation. And he'll also be part of Boombox Carnage. I'm probably going to put a Boombox thing back here or something. It won't have any effect in the game, but... You know, my gangsta Asian guy. Rice Cube. Just like these guys. The Harry Potter car will be on the Nerdburglar team and also on the British team. Lice Cube. No, they can't say L's. I don't know. You know. You know more than I do. My interaction with Asians is very limited. You have more interaction with Asians. I suspect. Just like I have more interaction with people that speak Spanish than you do. Hopefully. I always heard they can't say the L's. And they say R's instead of L's. I don't know. Everybody has these mannerisms. People can't roll their R's, and I have no problem rolling R's. So... Well, his name's still Rice Cube. He may say it Lice Cube. You know, the whole point is, I made a decision early on that the whole undercurrent of the way I'm going to run this is very similar to wacky packages, and you know what those things are. You may not have known that's what they were called, but you knew what they were. Like I didn't have any, but I knew what they were, but I didn't, that and Garbage Pail Kids. No R's is the problem. No R's. Okay, so Lice Cube. Okay. Yeah. So there's no R's in their language? See, I always heard there may be a Chinese-Japanese thing, right? And I always heard that a good, a code word, like when you've got like night operations and you've got sentries and you have a password, a good password for sentries in the Pacific would be lollipop, because it would they can't say lollipop. That's what I read in a book. It might not be, and that might be a Japanese versus Chinese thing, so well, we're neither one of those two, so we can call it rice cube. Lice Cube would be some guy that's in a gulag in Russia. All right, so we got the base coloring. We're going to have to go to this. And I can't feel, I feel like this. So anyways, getting back to the wacky packages, we're here to make fun of everything. You know? No harm intended. It's a funny freaking world. And all these people, every one of these drivers is somebody who's even worse than the people on Epstein's list. Well, they may not be guilty of that kind of stuff, but they're all rapists and and worse. Worse than the folks that are in the sentence. They're playing games in Saw. Worse than any of those people. Would you like to race a race? Would you like to drive a race? Man, I feel really out of practice doing this. I feel like this color has changed. And this is a brand new one, but I feel like the old red leather was different. Where is the old red leather? Is it this one? No, that's copper. There's a useless color. It's a color I use very little. I don't think I got rid of the old one. Here it is. I feel like this one's more red. It is. This one's also like more chalky or something. I always got to screw with stuff. It's like, oh, this color's great. Oh, maybe we can tinker with it. Maybe you just should leave it alone. Yeah, it's like chalky. We haven't even added. I don't think we added this yet. I don't like really big changes between colors when I'm doing faces. Otherwise, you end up having a face that looks like a meat cutting chart. As somebody used to say, as somebody said on on the miniatures page a long time ago about the Dallimore method of painting. Back in the mid '90s when I saw that, I was like, man, the triad worked, but the triad doesn't work for me on a face. You need more graduations. And somebody commented on that. It was like, yeah, it looks like a meat cutting chart. And I'm like, that's hilarious. Because I know what that is, even though I've never used one. I didn't clean the flash on this guy's face. He's got like a flash line that's running Right. I wish they wouldn't do that. Like it's literally running over his nose. And I'm like, I just moved on. I'm like, yeah, this guy just has a strange scar. But this weekend's definitely going better for painting than last weekend. I'm I just don't know how to deal with something when I'm not happy with it because it just never happens. And I fixed it, and it's still not good enough. I'm like, man, we need to set that off to the side. We'll come back to it. Luckily, I didn't spend any money on it. Well, if I would have spent money on it, I would have gotten something that I didn't have to shoehorn into being a building that it isn't. All right, now we go up a level. So now we're going to go. Let's use the old one we're used to. As you can see, I've given up on using a wet palette. It's just a waste of time at this point. I don't feel like the stuff I'm doing is worthy of having it take up as much space as it does. If I was doing more figures or something like that, maybe. There we go. He looks like a Wizard of Id character. Talk about something I don't ever think about. Like I couldn't tell you what the last time I saw something in the funny papers, or even said funny papers. Yeah, he looks like some curmudgeon. We're gonna do this old guy old school. If he did him now, he'd have like tattoos over his head. But when I grew up, people didn't have tattoos on their head. Actually, when I grew up, the only people that had tattoos were ex-Marines, and that may have been it. And those pirates from like the 1500s or whatever, right? Like those pirates the Far East pirates. I never did get around to painting the Celts or anything like that, where I had to do woad painting and things like that on. That would have been. I'm more leery of doing that than doing tartan. I'm going to put tartan on one of these vehicles. One of these vehicles is going to be Scottish. I don't know which one. I don't know. It's Angry Scotsman or something a little bit more. The bikers have tattoos. Yeah, I forgot about bikers. I don't really think about bikers. I guess they did. But bikers didn't have like tattoos on their head or something like that. Like they didn't have it on their face, I don't think. Anyway, just one of those things that even if I do it correctly, it's just like it may look like it's not made like it's done correctly. So it's just better to avoid it. Yeah, Marines would have one, and they'd have one here. They'd have an anchor or something. It would have it here. That's it. I don't know that they had it in World War II. They must have had. Sacalo café? No, we got a little bit more. Yes, I'm gonna have bikers eventually, but I mean, you can't do everything at once. I realized like when I was making my signs, I'm like, I got this British team, and like they've got 3 vehicles. Like we could do better than that. It's not like I don't want to do any more British vehicles. I want to do well. The Italians have one. Well, the Italians only have a sign. They only got one vehicle. You got one vehicle completed. I think I've got 3 French vehicles. None of them are completed. I'm a big fan of nationalistic type things, and what I mean by that is there's no point for these weird team names and Gaslands to me, like Bernie and the Undead and Ghosts and all that stuff, when you could just do country specific or nation specific groupings. It's kind of like when people go and like, oh, I don't like playing World War II stuff. I like playing whatever 1947 Dust or whatever. There's some like, if World War II went on like 2 more years and like they used mechs or something like that. And I'm like, nah, World War II is interesting enough. You don't have to fuck with it at all. I mean, the most I would screw with World War II is maybe do something like, if I had to, like do something with like zombies or something like that. But to be honest with you, if I had to include zombies in World War II, I'd more than likely give them to the Soviets. Just hordes and hordes and hordes of zombies. If I had to do that. But there's no reason to screw with World War II. It's like perfect. I'm more likely to change things that are fantasy into a setting that is more normal than taking something normal and changing it into a setting that's fantasy. For instance, I would take I would to use an extreme example. If I wanted to do BattleTech, I would more likely do make BattleTech and put it into a real world setting. Like you could have a French team, French BattleTechs and stuff like that. Then I would be to do like they did with that game where they took Napoleonics and made it fantasy, whatever the hell it's called, Slaughter Who or whatever the hell it's called. I forget if Slaughter Who's the expansion or something like that, where they took like the orcs or Prussians and like I would never do that. I would do the opposite. I would take science fiction and bring it into a real world that makes sense to me instead of taking real world stuff and extrapolate it into like it'd be cool if like the Nazis were like elves from another planet. I'm like no, I'm just like I'm not doing that. Just that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't operate that way. So, for instance, flip side of the coin, I am not one that would be like, hey, I'm used to playing Warhammer, so let's make a World War II game that is Warhammer like. I'd be like, no, let's make Warhammer more like the Face of Battle. Let's make Warhammer 40K more like Face of Battle more than the other way around. I'm probably the exception to people who think, I'm not going to do either one of those things, but I'm more likely to do that. I'm more likely to do that. But there's no Nazis in this game. There's German guys, but there's no, there's no Nazis, there's no commies in this game. No need for that. And there may be religion in the standpoint that I thought about making a church, and the people in the game that are the game are the people that pray to RN Jesus, RNG Jesus, random number generator Jesus. Maybe it might be like evangelicals to that. That would be their that would be what they pray to, the random number God, but not more than that. I was watching a convention walk around video, and they had a spot on a very English Civil War. It looked pretty cool. Yeah, that's like supposed to be what, 1938? So what is it? It's like fascist British versus what symbol did the fascist British have? Did they make one up for the game? And who are not the fascist British? Like, is it the commie British? Man, you're gonna make me look that up. That's how you take a break from this. You put ideas in my head. I'm like, this. I would do a very British Civil War before I would do 1947 Wehrmacht stuff, though. Because I suspect there's not mechs or anything like that. Very British Civil War factions. Okay, here's a whole wiki page for it. National Socialist League, I don't like the sound of that. As opposed to British Fascisti. English Mystery. Army of the Severn Valley, Royal Guard Division. British Fascisti. Religion, Protestantism. That's weird. That's weird to consider like Protestants and fascists together. It's just like it just doesn't seem right. But anyhow, I didn't create the backstory of this. Are these official teams? English Mystery. The English Mystery are Catholics. Oh my God, what the hell? Small reactionary groups seeking the restoration of a more feudal England. Yes, I want no right. I want less rights, please. I'm sorry. The Church of England and Catholicism are like the same thing. At least to me, I don't think they're that much different. I'm not trying to mean it ugly. It's just it's like Lutherans and Catholics. It's like the same thing. Just you tell the Pope to go fly a kite, whatever. It's the same thing. Um, and I just have a different worldview of that than just from my own experience. When I think of Protestantism, I think of people that are, and there's a million flavors of Protestantism. I think of people that are like anti-alcohol. And I'm just saying that like, oh, it's a sin to drink kind of people. I'm not saying getting drunk. I'm just saying, so, I mean, obviously I'm putting everybody in one extreme category of it, but I guess in the deep South, I know many people who are like anti-alcohol. And I'm like, I don't drink. I don't need it in my life. But if somebody says I'm not allowed to drink, we're taking up arms because it's part of my culture. It's like somebody says, "Oh, you can't have olive oil." Well, fuck you. We're we're gonna come get you as soon as we get done with our siestas. What's up, Ben? So somebody says, "Oh, you're going to a Protestant wedding." I said, "Who the hell would want to go to a wedding that's dry?" That's the first thing I think of. And this is coming from somebody that behaves better when they drink. Well, I'm more friendly, anyways. Let's put it that way. Who the hell would want to go to a dry wedding? So for me, and you guys are probably thinking, "Man, Tony, you're crazy." I said, "Well, we have crazy people here in the United States. We have extreme people that are like, you're never allowed to drink. I, I was a drunk and a drug user, or whatever, for like tens of years, and I got converted, and now I can't even look at a beer bottle because it's the work of the devil." I'm like, dude, man, that's your addiction's not my problem. You know what I'm talking about, Marcus. You got people down there in the backwoods that are like, think that alcohol is evil. I'm sure there's dry counties in Virginia. There's dry counties in Florida. I don't want to live in any of those places. I'd like to have, teeth. When I moved into this area, and it was like on Sunday, there wasn't anything to do other than go to church, be buried. I don't even know if they do burials on Sunday. And that's it. It's like, man, you got a day off and you don't have anything to freaking do. And then eventually, like, what's the point in having a day off and you can't do anything with it? Restaurants, that's it. Some restaurants. But I have a very European outlook on alcohol. It's just part of our culture, you know. We have both ends, the moonshiners and the I don't even know how to say that. I don't even know how to say that fucked up word. Teetotalers. The concept is there's no abdication. I have been doing skirmishes based on the Oxfordshire between the Buff and Royalists. Oh, no abdication of was it Edward the 6th? Whatever that guy, the guy that abdicated. I don't know. What was the economy of Britain in the 1830 18 no 1936 to 1938? It wasn't bad, was it? It wasn't like, yeah, I don't think it was bad. It wasn't like they didn't have any money. I mean, sure they had like debt from World War I, but that doesn't mean anything. You just don't pay it. That's what they do here. It's like, oh, we got bazillion trillion dollars in debt. Ah, fuck it, don't pay it. Let the next people pay it. Who cares? It's just funny money. But that's what I associate with Protestants. Sorry, nothing against Protestants. I'm gonna get more tea, and I'll be right back. culture European. Never really thought about it. I went to Europe and I didn't feel like I was in a strange place. Other than that driving that you guys do on the wrong fucking side of the road. That's a carnal sin. That's it. Hey, that's pretty good. That's better than most Americans. Oh man. And I have to remember that when I'm building a car, I'm like, oh shit, the driving thing's over here. You know, I don't want to change you guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm fine with you guys driving on the wrong side of the road. I'm going to give you shit about it. But, you know, I'm not going to be like, we're going to change all these British vehicles. We're going to make them drive on the correct side. We're not doing that. But, yeah, I have to be conscious of that. And what's worse is there's some World War II French vehicles, I believe, that have the conducting side on the British side. And it's like, wow. And then there's some that aren't. I'm like, that's a problem. No wonder they got steamrolled. Arguing about what side of this road that they needed to drive on. And some of those French vehicles are pretty cool. Like one of their half tracks or their trucks or something like that has the steering on the British side. I'm like, wow. I don't know which one it is. Oh shit. What month are we in? We're close to March. I gotta do an Irish vehicle. I gotta do an Irish vehicle St. Patrick's Day. I have to. And St. Patrick's Day is on a Monday, and I always, for some reason, I'm like honorary Irish or something like that. I don't know. I think I've celebrated St. Patrick's Day like once. It just falls on the wrong day of the week. And I've also heard that it's a bigger deal here in the United States than it is in Europe. Nobody in Europe celebrates the Irish. But I always do the St. Patrick's Day edition of painting. I don't know why. It's just kind of something fun to do. You know, I don't have anything against the Irish. You know, but I need to do an Irish vehicle. So I've got a couple weeks to do one, and I've got one. It's like a Jeep, and it has like a 4 They make a whole series of Irish vehicles, you know, but they're just other ones repackaged with Irish logos. I'm like, well, that's kind of lame. I mean, obviously, I understand how they're going to do that. They're not going to be like, let's make this casting and we can only use it for, you know, Irish themed vehicles, you know, instead of like having a Mustang or something like that. As a matter of fact, I think it's made by Hot Wheels. Let's see. It's something fun to do. Irish Hot Wheels. And yes, he's going to have a drinking problem. Yes, the guy is going to, the driver is going to have a drinking problem. Clover cars, that's what they're called. Clover cars. Here's a limousine somebody's trying to sell for $23. Well, that's not going to work. And that definitely looks like an Irish rapper. Oh, they consider this an Irish car? I have this guy. Why do they consider this an Irish car? Nah. No, it's not here anymore. Here he is. It's not Irish enough. Irish car bomb. What is that? That's Guinness, harp, and a shot of whiskey? Does that sound right? It's like half Guinness, half harp. And see, this is how we going down tangents. What is, and I need to put an Irish car bomb drink. I don't want to find out how to make Irish car bombs. What is an Irish car bomb drink? Let's see. Dropping a shot glass containing a mix of Irish cream. Ooh, that's a good way to take a nap. And Irish whiskey into a half pint of Guinness stout. Like you drop it in with the glass itself. That's heavy. Irish cream, Irish whiskey, half pint of Guinness stout. Never had one. Interesting. Yeah, I have like an open top Jeep Compass. That's what it looks like. It's an open top Jeep Compass that I found at the hand me down store. Let's see, Hot Wheels, Irish Hot Wheels. Yeah, this would be great. Have one of the little leprechaun things. So I do like Irish things. I like that. I like the green. I like the green. I'm not a fan of leprechauns. I tend to not like short people to begin with. Sorry. Um, Outing myself here. Pontiac Banshee. What the hell is a Pontiac Banshee? Sounds like something that breaks down as soon as you take it off the lot. This thing, I have one of these Lucky Tub things. Hot Tub Crime Machine. I got one of those. Which that's a problem trying to conduct a vehicle when you're in water. I don't think the pedals would work really well. Oh, what'd you send me, Jeffrey? Let's see what we got here. I can't join a War Games club in Aberdeen. I'd never make it. And I wouldn't understand anybody there. I'd need subtitles. Is it one of these? Irish Hot Wheels Jeep. No? It's this one. It may be this one. All right, I have to do a Scottish vehicle, and it's going to have a boombox thing on it. but it's going to have bagpipes on it. That would work. That would work. Because that boombox thing, the whatever the hell it's called, wall of amplifiers, that's basically like runs interference. It's like a healing, anti-healing vehicle. All right, we need to make this guy whiter. I don't know. He's kind of dirty. Probably he's never washed himself. Like one of those old movies, the kids are out playing, like black and white movies or whatever. Oh, you've been running around outside. Come inside and wash your face. I'm like, what exactly are you doing that your face is that damn dirty? Okay, I think this is this. I think this is enough of this guy. Just a couple more touches and unfortunately his trench coat is black. I mean, you have to. I think by definition, a trench coat has to be black. I guess you could have a brown trench coat. It's probably what I should do is give it a little bit of a brown tint. Oh, we got to use our Nazi brown then, or whatever they decided to call it now. German dark camouflage or something or another. SS camo black or whatever it used to be called. That's black. SS camo black is it this one? Nope. That's chocolate brown. That's another chocolate brown. I don't know why I got two of them out here. Werewolf fur. Ooh, I'm not a fan of those colors. I'm not a fan of war paints colors. They behave oddly. They mix strangely. Where is that color? Is it this one? Nope. That's rough iron. Let's put that. Needs to be over here in metallic land. How about this one? There it is. German camouflage black brown. Well, I've said before, you go to these conventions that they have in Britain, and the stuff looks a lot better. They're having a localish convention this weekend. It's not one I normally attend to, about an hour and a half away. It's not one I normally go to. I've gone to it, and it's like not really worth my time. I'm kind of getting soured on going to conventions to begin with. There's just some people I don't want to play games with. And I know I don't mean anybody that you've seen in the video. I mean, folks that there's a couple, and this particular convention, they posted pictures of it this weekend. I'm looking at it and I'm like, wondering, like, I think it started on Friday. I'm like, man, I didn't go to this convention. Maybe I should have gone. I look at the pictures and I'm like, there's nothing there for me. Including one guy that seems to show, every time there's a game in Florida, that fucker's there. And I'm not playing a game with him. He just has a bad attitude. And I may sound like I have a bad attitude, but I'm there to have a good time, and they have a good time playing games. And just some people they're not happy whether they're winning or losing. So I don't want them in my life. This particular guy, I don't want to deal with him ever again. You're dead to me. So, and it's the exception. Most people are not that way. But I don't like most people to play games. A lot of them are just, don't want to have fun. So, yeah, I think having a little bit of a brown tint to this is probably a good idea. Looks a little like Gru. Dr. Fester, Uncle Fester, Gru, and somebody else thrown in. But you look at the pictures of the convention games in Britain, and they're much better than the stuff in the United States. They just are not, maybe not every game, but as a general rule, the ones that I like, you guys have more time to do things. I think we're constantly being rushed by our employers. I don't know what the heck the reason is. We don't care. As a general rule. Now the good news is I should be able to get this guy finished before I have to stop. I can only be on here like another 30 minutes or so. Gotta take the daughter to she's taking a class over the weekend. So she came up here literally to take the class. So all right. This guy's got to have different color pants. And he's in a vehicle, it's all black. Now, if he was part vampire, I'd do, like burgundy pants or something like that. But I think we're going to keep it kind of normal. So let's do maybe a gray or a jean material or something like that. Maybe something like this, whatever color this is. Azure. Do you guys in Britain look at games of U.S. games and go man, those people in the U.S. don't do quality game setups. I mean, I'm sure there's exceptions, but stuff I'm always catches my fancy seems to be games in Britain. Now, there's painters all over the world that are inspiring, but the games in Britain seem to be... Well, most games are in Britain, or at least most games that are the topics that interest me. Awfully watery. We don't have to apply that in a very large area, so I'm not too terribly worried. You know, the only problem with doing the black trench coat is it looks like I just like lack originality. I just threw a color on there and didn't spend any time. I was like, well, that's the color it should be. That's the color it should be. Okay, I think he's done. I think he's done. So let's go back to this rusty razor. I think that's what this thing's going to be called. And let's use mithril silver to really make some things pop. There's enough rust on there. Anybody bought the Coat the Arms paints recently? Are they still good? You know, this thing looks really good compared to how it started. You know, it's one of those things like, I don't know if I'm going to like how I do. This is going to turn out. That's what I'm used to. I'm used to like, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out well. And then it turns out great. Not like, we'll see where this takes us. And it's like, oh, this garage looks like shit. You know? I guess I need more practice in failure. And unfortunately, this is just a forward-firing machine gun. That's not the intent that I had on it. It just kind of turned out that way. I need to focus on taking some good pictures of this because I've taken pictures of this vehicle and it doesn't look as good as it looks to the human eye. There's a lot of little color subtleties. They just get lost in a video or in a photo. All right. So let's move this away. What I got? 15 minutes? I got more than 15 minutes. These are still kind of drying-ish. Let's make sure we don't have anything alive here. Nope. Okay. Let me get my little pad. I had it here. All right. So this Mini Cooper, whatever the heck it's called. I thought I brought the. There we go. Okay, he's a buggy. This guy right here. It's a buggy, which is 6 points. And it's got 2 build slots. And one of them is a turreted MG. which is 2 times 3 equals 6. So we got 2 points left. Gonna have one of these. That's for a fact. Do I only have one Vickers left? I think I only have one Vickers left. Yeah, I know I got everything out of the weapons box there. Let me confirm. Oh, got another one. Yes! Come on, give me a third. Give me a third. And I'm fine using other machine guns for the British. Just like they get all the Vickers. It's just classic. Okay, I think that's it. All right, we're going to make sure that we use, like these double AKs. I'm not doing double AKs on British vehicles. Come on. Doesn't make sense to me. Not in my world, pal. Okay. So it's still got one build slot left and 2 points to do something with. So let's go to our weapon sheet. We don't want to leave any weapon slots unused. Let's go all the way to the... I'm going to try to make all the Mini Coopers 14 pointers. That way they can all switch in and out. Okay, so this is the number of build slots. So we want one in there. So we got Mine Dropper, Glue Dropper. Glue Dropper only has one ammo. Glue Dropper just seems kind of hokey. Caltrop Dropper, okay. Both of those are the same. Mine Dropper and Caltrop Dropper are the same. As far as they're both 1-1s. They have the cost of one and one build slot. Is there anything else that falls in that category? Yes, like I wouldn't want to use an oil slick dropper because it uses 2 points, so I'd be at 14, but I'd have a slot open. So we're going to call this Caltrop Dropper for the time being. Caltrop Dropper uses 1 and then it's only 1 point, and we're at 13. Okay, and I may decide to put grenades on it or whatever. So that's this thing. That's this thing done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put that with it. All right. The Scarlet Scoundrel. Feel like it needs a perk. Okay, it's a 27-point vehicle. Let's go over to Perklandia. Go to Perkistan. works. Here we go. He's a scoundrel. I almost feel like this should be slippery. He should be slippery. You know, like splashback. I don't want to use splashback on this vehicle. It doesn't look like a rattle trap. Slippery. Vehicles with a smash tech targeting this vehicle suffer -2. Okay, that's 3 points. It's got 2 built. It starts off, our goal is 27. Okay, and it starts off as a car with 12 and 2 build slots. First build slot should be some kind of gun. I'm thinking maybe a minigun. I don't have any British cars that have a minigun. None. I have lots of miniguns. So if you make them slippery, that's 3 points. And the car is 12, so now we're up to 15. If we have a front-mounted minigun, that's 20. That leaves me 5 points for 1 build slot. And I don't want to give them a ram. Can't make every vehicle have a ram. Let's go to the weapons in the back. And I like this copper roof, so we're probably going to put the minigun here on the hood, and we'll put it on the side where the driver would normally be in. Where are we at? 20. I could put armor plating on them. I don't have a car that's slippery and has armor plating. Let's put armor with a U. This one gets the armor plating with a U in it. Armor plating, question mark, 4. That would leave me with 3 left over. Which could be a Magnum, I believe. Now, let's look for a front plate that would fit on here that has a hole in it, and we'll flip it so the hole is on the passenger side, and we'll put a minigun through there. I know exactly which armor plate this is. Just gotta find it. Should have bought 2 sets of these. These are really useful. Also take this one, cut some of the spots for it. Let's pull out the minigun up. That one is sitting in a little flat spot, so I don't want to use that one. That one's good for like in the hood. Yeah, I think that's it. Here's another one. That's another one. Not gonna use that one. That was too cool looking. Okay, I got two of these. Got two of those. There's one floating around here that has a hole in it. Reminds me, had a bucket of Legos. And I'm looking for that one piece. I really don't want to dump this, but it's also a possibility. I don't know where it is. Yeah, maybe that's a sign we shouldn't use that one. Okay. All right, we're not going to use this. Let's just get these fuckers out of the way here. Here it is, right here. All right, so we'd have to flip this so that this port is on the passenger side. The problem with using it on a vehicle that has a very sloped front window is then you have to do something so the gun isn't like pointed up at the sky like shooting at aircraft. So let's not do that one, okay? All that, and we didn't want to look at it. This is not bad, but we'd have to change it. How many of these do we have? We have only one of these, so we probably don't want to use this. This big machine gun, I'm not opposed to putting it through the window and then, cutting this back side of it off, right? Just using this front part that sticks out through there. Modifying this, cutting it across and having that sit through there. Now, alternatively, you could have this as just a frame, have it stick through here. And then close some of it up with like this mesh. Same thing with this one. Take this and cut some of these holes out. I don't like that. It's a little too punk rockish. Not for this vehicle. I might actually make this copper colored, since the roof here is copper. It's a little too space age-ish. Oh, and I wanted to put a wing on this thing. And that's not all my weapons. That just happens to be the ones I pulled into the box in the old set. I wanted to put a little wing back here. MG set, but miniguns are separate. Special weapons. Turreted things. Okay, here is there's a wing in here. There's a wing in there. You know, the whole point is make every vehicle cool. Not like, oh, I gotta drive that thing up looking like shit. That's not what the intent is. That's a little too much. Maybe not. These are too low. This is like a dragster one. That's gonna, unless I use epoxy, that's gonna break all kinds of different ways. I'm gonna combine both of these in the same one. This is the other. I don't think it looks good. Okay, so no it's got like first aid stuff on it. Okay. No wang. Who's the other parts of this Cortina? Yeah, I don't care that the interior is gold. And the yellow window actually works. By the time you do add a couple of layers of the tint, it actually looks all right. Let's just put this on here to kind of hold it in place. I want it to go through the windshield. I want it to go through the windshield. Well, I'm going to have to stop for the morning, because I got to go take the daughter to her class. All right, folks, thanks for stopping.